Business as Unusual is a thought-provoking podcast that explores the innovative strategies, disruptive ideas, and unconventional practices driving successful leaders and companies in the ever-evolving world of modern business. Subscribe, comment, and share for weekly inspiration with our host, Aicila.
The energy equation, stoking your internal fire. Most of the time, entrepreneurs and people in general focus on time and money, but they're missing the third resource, energy. Energy isn't just about stamina. It's made up of three key elements: creativity, momentum, and connection. Learn how to manage and cultivate these, and you'll have the energy to use your time and money effectively. Now, when I talk about this in a business sense, really thinking about it, you manage your time as an entrepreneur, business owner. You invest your money in yourself, in your team, in improvements and education. You need to also cultivate your energy. And that's the part I think a lot of people miss and where burnout comes in. Burnout is predictable and therefore preventable. When your business battery is fueled by those three elements of creativity, connection, and momentum, and you learn how to cultivate and replenish those, you're not going to burn out. I help people become their own regenerative source so they can move through and avoid that burnout, and to understand how to create that inner power source, which is also a power source for your life and your well-being. So it's kind of efficient, which I do love that. So I'll explain what each of them are. So when I talk about creative energy, it's that capacity to generate, express, and solve ideas, designs, imagination. Like some people who are maybe more engineering or math focused will say, I don't use creativity. Yes, you do. Creativity is part of problem solving, and it's part of math and understanding how to put things together. Even if you're like, oh no, I don't use creativity in my business or my life. Yes, you do. Connection energy is all of those team building things, networking, and honestly, relationships. That's that charge you get or give through meaningful interaction and engagement. And momentum energy is that internal motivation to begin and the emotional satisfaction of seeing something through. So that's why I talk about those three core energy components. The other thing I really want you to remember is that energy is a resource. It's not just a feeling. People often feel, there's a lot of woo, and I admit this probably sounds a little woo, and there's definitely a piece to it because it's a little difficult to measure. However, I shouldn't say that. It's not difficult to measure. When you have energy and momentum, but it's not always easy to quantify. And it is a business asset that must be managed like time and money. If you're a designer and you draw on your creative energy and you don't replenish it, then what happens is people think it's magic. They come back to do some design and they can't do it. I'm stuck. I'm burned out. Really what it is they haven't understood how to replenish their creative energy. So they draw on it till it's gone, and then they don't have it anymore. Managing your energy also multiplies the impact of your time and money. You can have all the time and money in the world, but if you don't have the energy to use them well or to make those important strategic decisions, they're going to be wasted. And let's be honest, most of us don't have all the time and money in the world. We really need to be very thoughtful and strategic about how we engage with our other resources, and having our energy source, our energy core fueled up helps with that. And once again, burnout isn't just a personal issue. It's a business problem. Without managing your creative connection and momentum energy, your business as well as your being are going to suffer. The best leaders and entrepreneurs will actively manage these three sources of their energy and not just their schedule and their finances. We all know somebody who seems to have an unending source of energy. They're go, go, go. They always seem to be able to create and inspire, get things done. And sometimes that's because they have good delegation and they have other support factors and privileges. And a lot of times it's because they intuitively understand this aspect. If you sit and talk to them, they usually know what recharges them, and they often prioritize that. They don't tend to skip meals or short themselves on sleep. And they do tend to spend time doing things they love and unapologetically. They will schedule vacations or time with their family and friends. They are always replenishing that internal battery. And they don't probably think about it that way. It's like I said, for a lot of folks that are intuitively connected to that, it's an automatic behavior, or maybe they learned it from someone. A lot of us have to learn it differently. We work in cultures and communities that encourage self-exploitation. We are rewarded for harming ourselves, for staying up too late, for giving up things that matter to us to chase the dollar. And profit isn't a problem. Having a profitable business is 100% one of the goals. And extracting that profit from yourself and others will deplete everything. And learning how to be that CEO of your own well-being and to really replenish those energy centers will make a difference for you in your success and also your satisfaction. One of the things I hear from my clients is almost like a shock and discomfort that it doesn't have to be so hard. I'm not talking about the good kind of hard, that thing where you throw yourself into a project and you're not sure, you're on your edge of learning. You've got that feeling of like risk and challenge, or expanding your comfort zone. You're pushing yourself a little bit, like a good workout will do. Like when you're done with a good workout, your body feels just a little bit sort of tired, but you don't feel drained, right? It's not that kind of like, oh, what did I do? And this is so hard. It's that hard that creates. And the other hard, the hard that's draining and self-exploiting, that feels different. And you know what it is. I know you know what it is because we've all been there. And a lot of us believe, either through conditioning or experience or just being in this culture, that hard that feels bad means that we're doing it. We're doing the work. And actually, it's often the one that takes us away from being the most effective, most productive, most beneficial entrepreneur and community member. I'm going to talk about this. I've talked around it because I didn't really have good languaging for it for a long time. And I recently sort of was able to dial it in. And I'm going to talk about this more often on the podcast and in my work, because I realize it is something I bring to everything that I do. And it isn't intuitive for people. And it is messaged against. And every time that this is clicked for someone, I just see everything in their business and honestly a lot of things in their life going way more smoothly and the way that they want it to. Because it's a very strategic way to understand how to fuel yourself and your life in the same way that eating well or exercising appropriately will fuel your body. This fuels the energy of your life. So I hope you stick around for more on the energy equation. Next week, tune in for some tips and tricks on creative energy and how to stoke that fire in your business and in yourself. Thank you for tuning in to Business as Unusual. Remember, in this ever-evolving world of modern business, it's not about fitting in. It's about standing out. See you next time. Stay curious, stay innovative, and always keep it unusual. I hope you enjoy the show. I love making it. If you did enjoy it, consider hopping over to the review portion of the platform you listen on and letting other people know about it. Or share the episode or the entire show with a friend or subscribe to the show. Definitely reach out, get on my newsletter, follow me on social media, and let me know what you like, what you don't like, and what you'd like to see in the future. Well, we love our guests. Appearance on the Business as Unusual podcast or any Bicurean consulting production is for information purposes only and is not to be considered an endorsement of their business practices, or character. Please properly vet anyone you find through this podcast and generally before you do any business with them. Thank you for listening.